This is Andy Purwal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ariel Helwani. For the second day on the bounce, Ariel, I appreciate you giving up some time. Obviously, we've just witnessed the official weigh-in between Jake and Tyron amongst the undercard as well. Firstly, just get your thoughts and your reaction to seeing them both on the scales.
Yeah, I thought they both looked good. Obviously, Tyron is used to cutting to 170 pounds, so here he is fighting at 190. He looked very fit and hydrated as opposed to dehydrated in the past. So I thought that they both looked really good. I guess the big story of the day is that they've changed the rounds of the Tommy Fury-Anthony Taylor fight from 6 rounds to 4 rounds. They're saying it's because the British Commission is saying that Tommy can't fight more than 4. Seems a little bit odd to me, considering the fact that we've known for quite some time that this was a 6-round fight. How could you change it the night before the weigh-ins? If I'm Anthony Taylor, I'm very upset about this. But, he's a professional. He's taking the fight, obviously, and we'll see how it pans out on Sunday.
That's something I will come on to shortly, but just to stick with Jake and Tyron, what do you think either of those guys would have taken away from seeing the other person, their opponent on the scale?
I think Jake is the one who has to cut more weight. Someone was saying to me that he looked a little bit, dried up. I didn't really see that. That wasn't really my takeaway. But no, I mean, I don't think any of the guys on it, I don't think any fighter on this card was really cutting a lot of weight, if I'm being honest. Maybe Tommy is the one who's cutting the most amount of weight because he's a big guy. But I think it was pretty much as expected. Now I'm curious, come Sunday, does Jake add a lot of weight? He told me he would be around 194, which would only be 4 pounds. And that's in, 36 hours or so. So you'd expect a little more. Or does, does he gain 10 or 15 pounds and Woodley come in 10 or 50 pounds lighter to them? Because I don't think Tyron Woodley's going to gain much more weight because, he's a pretty small guy.
That's something I was going to ask you. From your experiences working with Tyron in the UFC, what would you expect him to look to come in and around at?
Oh, I don't think he's going to be much more than this because he usually fights at 170 and then would come in at 185. Here he is at, 189. So, I mean, I'd be shocked if he's much more than 191 if he has a meal or something like that.
Errol, as you mentioned, over Tommy Fury, Anthony Taylor fought. What did you make of those guys on the scales?
Well, Anthony Taylor has fought at 135, at 145, at 155, so I didn't expect him to have much trouble fighting at 180. Tommy Fury is a big guy for 180, but to me that round thing is very bizarre. Like I understand that they have some sort of jurisdiction over him, but they shouldn't have a say on what is going on in Ohio. You know what I mean? Like, he's not their property. So it feels a little bit suspect to me, but boxing.
That's it, boxing indeed. Just with Anthony, obviously, stepping up in weight to face Tommy, with the rounds adjustments taken into consideration as well, do you think it would have been possible, say if it had stayed as a 6-rounder, or as Anthony said afterwards, it was originally meant to be an 8-rounder, he could have taken Tommy into those deep waters because Tommy is a big favourite and he's expected to look good against Anthony?
Sure, yeah, bigger guy. Anthony doesn't have a lot of boxing experience, but he has MMA experience. He has 12 MMA fights, 1 boxing fight. So, he's gone a little longer. The concern might be, at least from Anthony's perspective, is they don't want him to get tired. He's a big guy. He cuts a lot of weight. So, make it a 4-round fight. Doesn't go into 6 rounds. You're chopping off 2 rounds, 8 rounds, chopping off half the fight. So I know that he thinks that, some nefarious things were being done, that they were trying to protect Tommy Fury, but both of them have been predicting an early finish anyway. So maybe this will all be a moot point and we won't need the extra rounds.
Just one thing I want to touch on, which I never had the chance to ask you about yesterday, is just Jake Paul's comments and his, I wouldn't say relationship, but his interactions with Dana White. What do you make of it?
I mean, he's just someone who likes to disrupt, so it's disrupting boxing, MMA, Dana White's business. He's a very smart guy. He knows how to push people's buttons. He's poking the biggest bear of the forest, so to speak. And if you take everything away, all the hype and drama, most of the stuff that he is saying is true about fighter pay. He's actually talking with a lot of sense. So that fight will never happen, obviously, and it's interesting to see someone so young punch up to Dana, so to speak, because no one ever dares challenge him. But I like when he talks about fighter pay and is shining a spotlight on it, and that's why I think like he is good for fight sports, because a lot of people aren't talking about the things that he's talking about. So I say more power to him.
Errol, tomorrow night, what are you expecting from that headline fight?
Great fight. I don't make predictions. Great fight. The drama is fantastic. It's theater at its finest, if you ask me, and we'll find out. How does Woodley look in a boxing match? What happens if this fight goes long? How does Jake Paul look if it goes into the 5th or 6th round? All these questions that I can't wait to get answered Sunday night.
With public weighing tonight, final one, are you expecting any antics now that both have obviously made weight? Or
No, I don't think so. They didn't really make the, like that drama at the press conference was more other people. So they're professionals. They know there's a lot of money at stake. I would be very surprised if something happened.
Errol, I appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure to meet you for the first time this week. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
My pleasure. Thank you.